Hello, and today I'm talking again to Pater Wakefield, my colleague, and this is a follow-up to our first pod, which was the manifesting of energy through rays and astrology, through the 7 rays and astrology. And today I'm talking to him about how rays can change, the 7 rays and the predominant rays can change within a person. So Pater, why do rays change, the predominant rays? Why do they change within the individual?
Thank you, Lynn. Well, first of all, we should explain that we have a ray affecting the soul, a ray affecting the personality, which is made up of 3 constituents of the mental body, the astral body, or the emotional body, that is, and the physical body, all of which have individual ray influences, which may or may not be one or the same. So, how do the rays change, and for what reason do they change?
Yes, well, exactly.
Let's deal with the soul ray first.
Yes.
First of all, if you have a soul on a major ray, which is ray 1, 2 or 3, they're not likely to change for hundreds of lives. If you have a soul whose ray is 4, 5, 6 or 7, which is one of the rays of attribute or the minor rays, then they are likely to change to one of the major rays when the person has gone through certain initiations and experiences over many lifetimes. So rays 4, 5, 6 and 7 at the soul level can change more often than the rays of aspects or the major rays. So the personality ray, this changes quite often. You see it when we are growing up. The boy in high school has come through junior school. Probably most boys have 3rd ray personalities up to the age of starting.
Most boys, really?
Yeah, most boys.
And
because
girls?
Because they share the same.
That's not true of girls then?
Girls are different, which I'll come to in a minute.
Sorry.
Boys often share a bank of collective energy,
right,
within the family of the culture that they're growing up in, whether it be a religious one or not. It's usually a cultural climate which is affected by the adults around them, which includes teachers, may or may not include clergy, depending on what religion or background they're from. But boys and girls collectively share, up until starting secondary school or grammar school, they share a collective bank of energy, which is usually ray 3 for boys, which is diversity of interests, and ray 6 for girls. Generally speaking, there'll be always exceptions to the rule.
Ray 6 for girls, interesting.
Yeah, girls are more likely to be on a ray of idealism.
Yes. And
devotion.
Service, and devotion.
And boys are more scattered energies and interests. So when we go into grammar school or upper school, there is a change, because we begin to individuate from our parents and from our elders and from those adults who influence us. So we individuate our consciousness more as we're growing up. So for boys, for example, if they show a predilection for the arts, it will be rays 4 and rays 2.
Which is love, wisdom
and art and harmony.
Yes.
Whereas if it's the sciences, it will be rays 1 and 5. If it's sports, it's likely to be rays 3 and 7. So there is a compendium of energies which are available to us, which we choose unconsciously.
Can I just clarify for people who might not know, 1 and 5? 1 is will and power, and 5 is concrete knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah, concrete knowledge and analytical science.
And the last tandem you gave, the last 2 rays you gave?
3 and 7.
Which is?
Active intelligence, which is diversity, variety, and Ray 7 is ritual and ceremonial order.
Right. Okay.
Which is often seen through sports.
Mm-hmm.
So that's dealing with personalities.
Yes.
As we grow into our profession, as we grow into our chosen life, our chosen path, we then show a preponderance for one of the rays of aspect, usually. We either have a first ray personality, a second ray personality, or a third ray personality. But most common, for most of us, for 60 to 70% of humanity, we have a personality that is on ray 5. Or ray 4. It's either going to be on ray 4 or 5, usually. So there are percentages for these rays,
which are harmony or concrete knowledge.
Both.
Yes.
40% for ray 4 personality. Ray 5 is probably the same, and the rest of the rays are split into the remainder of those percentages. So that's dealing with it personally, at the personality level. At the mental level, your ray is not likely to change in a lifetime. Your mental ray is usually...
Really?
Yeah. Unless it's on one of the rays of attribute. Rays 4, 5, 6 and 7.
They're attribute rays.
They're attribute. But usually, the only rays that change you are the ones that fluctuate between ray 4 and 5. That is quite common.
Right.
It's not likely to change if it's ray 7 or ray 1 mental body. The emotional ray can change and should change during the course of a lifetime.
Why should it?
Because most of us start off there's a high percentage of us who have a 6-ray astral body, which is devotional and idealism, and it is the inheritance of the previous age, the age of Pisces, where we've expressed our emotional or astral energies through a surge of different expressions of devotion through the religions of the past and what have you. That should change. If we are on the 6th ray, that should change to ray 2, where we become more calmer and we become more composed and more tranquil. Whereas the 6th ray is more gushing, it is more flowing. The 2nd ray is more coordinated and ordered. The physical body can change and does change, but not for everybody. We start off, most of us start life as youngsters in an ectomorphic state, which is ray 7. And then by the time we're 10 years of age, our physical ray has determined what we're going to be like for that lifetime usually. It will either morph off into ray 6, which is a mesomorphic state, which is an accentuation on the fats in the body, or the carbohydrate sort of fats. Or it will stay on a ray of ray 7, which is more ectomorphic, which is more highlighting order and ritual. Or ray 3, which is the most common of the physical rays, which is accentuation on strength, stamina, the ability to withstand a lot of stress, that type of thing, whereas Ray 7 would not withstand a lot of stress. Ray 1, physical body, tends to be academic, tall, more cerebral. So you can see from these differing influences how each of us has a Ray preponderance.
Yes.
And we do go through many changes, but where it is unlikely to change is where there are rays of aspect 1, 2 and 3.
When a person is going through ray change, how do they experience it? I mean, is it a difficult thing? Do they experience discomfort, or what do you think the average person feels when, say, their personality ray may be changing? Or is that too difficult a question?
No, it's not a difficult question. When we go through a transformation from one energy to another, it is usually because we have chosen it through
from higher self level,
through through observance of certain disciplines. For example, if we're doing a science course, if we are studying to be a doctor or one of the other sciences, it usually requires a change of ray to ray 5. Whereas if we're more abstract, more artistic, more emotional perhaps, it will require disciplines that are more free-flowing than ray 5, and so that would be ray 4.
Right, art and harmony.
Yes, but most of us spiritually require one of the transformations of personality to rays 1 or 2, because most of us either have a soul ray on ray 1 or 2, which require that the personality becomes the opposite. So if you have a first ray soul, the first ray soul is best expressed through a second ray personality, its opposite archetype.
Yes.
And vice versa, if you have a second ray soul, it's best expressed through a first ray personality. But these two rays, because they're rays of aspect, are only acquisitioned, if you like, when there has been a spiritual transformation, because they're major rays. So the welter of experience that the planet produces through many lives will require you to have a personality on ray 1 or 2 towards the end of a cycle of lifetimes, where you're able to integrate your life better. So
a cycle of lifetimes, meaning almost like a chapter within a book, or a whole book.
Yeah,
which do you think?
Either. You know, it's circles within circles, spirals within spirals, isn't it? It's fractal.
Okay, all right. Well, just to clarify my question a bit more, is before you, at the beginning, you talked about hundreds of lifetimes, on one ray.
According to the wisdoms.
According to the wisdoms.
Not according to Pater Wakefield.
No, well.
But according to the ancient wisdoms.
Well, obviously, we take that as read. But so lots of lifetimes on one ray are giving the same type of life, perhaps? Do you see this as being a bit like Groundhog Day? Are you saying that when that happens, people repeat their lifetimes to mirror lifetime after lifetime after lifetime?
We tend to learn from experience, obviously.
Yeah.
And experience often represents itself again and again until we've learned something.
Yeah.
So I would agree with that theory, yeah. Okay.
And then something jolts as something comes in, which is an epiphany of some sort, and this is when we change ray.
Yeah. Energies from outside ourselves will often be a catalyst for that.
Yes.
Either people
yes.
or people incarnate or non-incarnate. In other words, from within the world or from without the world.
And do you think we call this up, this awakening, or do you think it's something that
it comes to
unnatural?
It comes to us as a mathematical certainty at a certain point in our development, in our spiritual.
So it's a little bit of
consciousness.
both. It's a little bit of divine intervention with our own allowance of the need to grow.
Yeah, we're helped up.
Yes.
We're giving a helping hand.
That's very insightful. So on that note, I think we'll leave it. Peter, thank you very much. Thank you.
Pleasure.